Hello and welcome to the channel. A while back, Blazblue Central Fiction got a rollback update, so I decided to pick it up. I wanted to make this video sooner, but stuff kept coming up that made me push it back. So I considered just dropping the idea and moving on, but these characters are way too interesting to not talk about. Let's get started. Ragna. As the character Burden was giving me the first impression of the game, he did a good job. I was actually surprised by his drivability. A healing mechanic in a fighting game is rare, and it got me very curious about the other characters' gimmicks. His specials are fun to use. I especially love that big overhead swing with the scythe. Jin. Basically Kai is an ice elemental. The range on his slide move feels kinda short, but that's definitely just because I'm used to Milia's full screen 1-inch drive. I found one cool combo with him and it's fun to use, so he's getting a high rating. Noelle. Chain attacks really aren't my forte. She managed to avoid the not interested tier thanks to me accidentally doing something cool in training mode. Part of me wants to figure those combos out because it looks pretty sick. Rachel, a very interesting character. On top of her trap specials, she can control the wind, so she can blow you toward the traps or keep you within attacking range. She can also fly around the screen with her umbrella. Definitely not the character for me, but it's a pretty fun gimmick. Taukaka, fast-paced gameplay, charming design and moveset, and she has an after-image super. Her pouncing move looks like it could be useful. If it lands, you can continue your combo, and if it's blocked, you can immediately get some distance. Very fun to play around with. Tager. Easily the coolest grappler I've ever seen. Unfortunately, he's the kind of grappler that uses 360 inputs. If it weren't for that, I'd be more eager to try him. What's scarier than a heavyweight grappler? A heavyweight grappler that pulls you into his command throws. Lychee. Seems a bit difficult to learn. The way she launches her staff depends on what move she put it down with. She's also got two other stances, the one without her staff and the one where she stands on top of it. I bet she's a cool character to watch, but I'm not really interested in playing her. Arakune. This guy feels so weird to control. The floatiness and the trajectory his moves send him would be hard for me to get used to. I can tell his curse mechanic is going to be a nightmare to deal with. Aside from the random crap flying around the screen hitting you, he has a move that limits your mobility. I don't really like him that much. Bang. I freaking hate his sound effects. Just for that, he's going at the bottom of the list. But he does have some cool moves, like the nails that let him zip around, or his drive skill that seems to power up if he manages to get all 4 symbols. Cool stuff, but those sounds just get on my nerves too much. Carl, the resident puppet character. Very different from what I'm used to with Zato. The puppet's always on screen and you can't move through it when it's active. Also, its specials are done with negative edge plus a motion input, unlike Eddie where you only have to worry about letting go of his button. I don't really like the way this duo works. Hakumen. Cool dude, but it took me a little while to figure out what his deal was. He's all about meter. Every one of his specials uses up some of that bar. To compensate, he gets multiple bars to fill indicated by these glowing dots, and it refills on its own. I like his design, but not his gameplay. New. Seems to be a distance fighter. She can throw swords at you from far away and use her gravity field to make it difficult to close in on her. I like what she does with the blades, but I'm not a fan of characters that rely solely on keep away tactics, which she's kinda forced to do thanks to where her blades spawn. Tsubaki. Never played a character with a resource I have to charge up during battle, and this is not the character that makes me want to give it a try. I don't find her very appealing. Hazama. I like his style and his chain mechanic. His dash did throw me off at first. It looks like it should be a run, but it's a quick step. Mew. I like her little turrets. I especially love that I can ricochet a laser off them after I set them up. She has a cross-up special, so she's not completely limited to ranged attacks like Mew is. I'd probably only play her in casual games. Makoto. Her drive skill relies on timing. I like doing timing stuff. The way it's used here is interesting. I also like her weapon. You don't see Tonfa used very often. Valkenhayn. This dude's like the werewolf counterpart of Slayer. I love that you can follow up his specials with a transformation to keep the Crusher up. The wolf form is more agile, but also risky to use since he can't block. Platinum. She's a weird character. I like the weapon swapping and that's about it. Nothing else particularly noteworthy to me. Relius. This team feels a little bit better than Carl's. The mechanical stuff he uses in his attacks give him an evil toymaker vibe. He's sort of intriguing, but I don't think I'd enjoy using him. Izayoi. I like her more than I was expecting. She has 2 modes, one where her special moves fill up her other bar, and the other lets her spend it. Her Mirage Thruster move is pretty fun. I love the sound effect. The movement in her second mode would take some getting used to. She's got fun moves and fairly simple meter management, so she gets a good rating. Amane. His drill is the drill that will pierce defenses. It's actually less damaging to let it hit you at the highest level. The C attacks have a very specific hitbox. They don't hit if you're too close, and it looks like they're meant to pull the opponent into drilling range. Bullet. Her lock-on attack looks pretty cool. The follow-up moves when she's in her heated up state have a nice punch to them. Azrael. I'm just gonna assume from his portrait that he's a villain. I'll be surprised if he isn't. I feel like he would be scary to fight once he gets his game plan going. If a weak point is active, his D button attacks do more damage, and he has an overdrive that keeps them active. I'd love to see how much damage someone who mastered this guy can do. Kagura. Here's an odd one, a stance and charge character. Neither playstyle is something I'm used to, but he's caught my interest. I'm willing to give him a shot. Kokonoe. I love that she summons a bunch of random items for her moves, including a regular old scooter. At first I thought she was some kind of merchant, but then I saw the super that summons a giant tiger, so I guess more of a scientist. Terami can steal his opponent's meter, so naturally, the majority of his moveset consists of super moves. You're gonna see this background a lot fighting this guy. I feel like he'd be pretty fun. Celica. Her drive ability description confused me at first because I didn't see any health indicator for Minerva. After I took some damage to test her healing mechanic, I realized that Minerva was the one taking the hits, so the health bar is basically hers. I enjoy their dynamic more than the other duo characters. Lambda. She's like new, but geared more toward close range fighting. Definitely a glass cannon, but I think I'd enjoy playing her. Hibiki, an illusion character. I don't have much to say about him. He has cool moves and he's easy to understand. 9. Her gimmick is incredibly fun. I won't try to play her seriously because I don't like her floatiness or her dashes, but I'll definitely have fun with her in casual matches. Naoto. I've heard people say he's difficult to use, and now I might know why. Inputting a move while dashing changes its properties. I imagine that's really difficult to do under pressure. I wouldn't have much fun trying to learn. Izanami. The levitating thing is pretty neat. Her D-button attacks seem kind of lackluster. Doesn't seem like there's much benefit to them normally. Really want to learn more about her after seeing that psychotic look in her astral finish. And do I even need to bring up her time stop? That's always a cool move in fighting games. Susanoo. Dude looks amazing. The lock mechanic is really interesting. Makes him feel like a demon who had his power sealed away. This is another one I'd have fun with in casual matches. S. The crests are very elegant. Their sound effects are really nice too. It's a good thing she can't use 2 crests at once, or that big delayed one in the air would be a massive problem. I really liked her range attacks as well. Mai. She's quick, simple, and uses one of my favorite weapons. Although I hate that her move list doesn't explain the gimmick behind her normal attacks. I'll probably switch to someone else later on, but I feel like she's a good character for me to learn the game with. Jubei is excluded because I didn't realize there was DLC when I bought the game. It's pretty unlikely I'd use them anyway, so I'm not gonna buy them. Sorry. And with that, we're done. At some point I'm going to dive into the lore of this series. I heard the plot was really crazy. I also heard that a lot of the characters are just different versions of each other, and I'm curious how true that is. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed, consider subscribing to see more stuff like this in the future, and remember to leave a like while you're at it. That's all for now, see you next video.